Hold on right there. Instagram. We're coming. All right, I think we're live on every platform, but I'm gonna give it a second. Pardon this. It's my new phone. I'm trying to figure it out. So it's beeping and flipping. There we go. We're on the air right now. Okay. We're about to get started. Stay tuned. You're gonna really grasp a lot out of this, but I gotta get a lot of pieces of conversation out of the way before we get started. So thank everyone for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. Once again, coming back to you with a timely subject. I think today we're going to come from the 19 Report platform. Um, Again, thank everyone for tuning in. We're going to be broadcasting live on 3 Facebook platforms. We're going to be broadcasting live on Instagram as well as my YouTube channel and Twitter, as well as on Instagram. What's happening, Willie? And what's happening, Maria? I think that's what I see. I got glasses on. I'm not only 4 eyes, I'm like 10 eyes. Even though I got glasses on, I still can't see that well. But you want to stay tuned for a little while today, just for a little while. And if you can't, like when you click off, share it to someone else if you can. But I thank you all for tuning in on every platform today as we have a timely subject to go into, something that I was supposed to go into some time ago. But unfortunately, it's so much to do and I'm just not up to par yet. And my partner called me the other day and said, "You're doing too much. I know you're doing too much. You need to slow down and focus on yourself and your son." And yeah, I'm gonna slow down a little bit, but I'm just so afraid of not doing what God says to do. To be honest with you, I know He'll give me the strength and the ability to do it if I stand up and do it. So to have good friends that'll tell you to slow down is a great thing. So today's topic is, once I find it, I know I downloaded it somewhere and I cannot. There you are. Is that you? That is not you. Um, be that as it may, I'm going to get into this timely topic. Thank you all for tuning in again. This is going to be very heavy today. I want to start off with this. Yesterday, we had the Festival of Lights in Manning, South Carolina, and myself and my significant other were in a slingshot, and the slingshot was decked out with lights and music. And my son Brian Lufuata did the music. DJ Lufuata and myself mixed the sound together, trap sound. Uh, um, I had a light that was shining on the front of the car with lights dancing on the street. That was my late sister, Tiny Baxter, Tiny Ann Wilson. That was hers. And I wanted to take her with me on that ride. And so I put that on the front of the car. And then my brother-in-law and Uncle Link Fulton out of Sugar Hill allowed me to drive the slingshot. But more people were more concerned of that I was in the slingshot. I was advertising the business and everything else, but they were more concerned that what's he doing in a slingshot? And I think that kind of what people think about you, and this is for everyone, when people think about you a certain way, when they talk about you a certain way, when they gossip about you a certain way, they go so deep into and gossip is a sin. Backbiting is a sin. All of spreading rumors is a sin. But when they already made you something and it turns out that you aren't what they say you are, and you, by God's permission, shine, they get so angry at you for shining, they don't pay attention to the shine. They pay attention to the things that made you shine, the material things. So as I'm riding in this, everybody's yelling, "Is that yours? Is that yours? Is that yours?" And I'm saying to myself, wow, they're missing the point. I'm advertising a business and being a part of a great event and enjoying the event because the energy of the people was so good. But those who thought, my point is, people who think that you are nothing and talk down to you like you're nothing and talk to others like you're nothing. When you shine above what they have already made you out to be with their mouth, They don't even know how to apologize. So I told my brother-in-law, I said, man, they thought this was my slingshot. He said, it is your slingshot. He said, if they ask you whose it is, I'm paraphrasing it. Tell them, yeah, it's yours, because as family, we share. So was it my slingshot? Yes, it was my slingshot. I enjoyed the ride with my significant other. We ride, we enjoyed ourselves. We took time out to make that happen. That's out of the way. No more talk about that. But when people start to talk negative about you, they create a frequency. And if you're not strong enough to fight that negative frequency, you end up becoming what they say. Or years down the line, you may make a mistake and they say, see, I told you. Trust in God by whatever name you call him. Trust in that. And I want to say that God is not a spook out in space or something that you just talk to and hope that you get an answer. The universal law, the universal frequency of God is real. And unfortunately, everything that is happening in our lives today is for a reason. The good and the bad, how we're losing loved ones, losing children. Unfortunately, if you read the Bible properly, if you read scripture properly, you'll see a loss of life, a loss of wealth, a loss of many things mentioned in the book. But the church, unfortunately, and I'm going to keep saying that word unfortunately because it's unfortunate, they teach you that once you come to God, everything is okay. Everything is, you're thinking that you're going to have a smooth ride. And you get into religion and you get around these people who gossip and talk, and you find out that your life there in the church, in the mosque, in the synagogue was worse than your life in the street. Well, welcome to Jesus Christ 101. Because there is nowhere in the Bible where Christ did not live in misery. From the time before he was born, when the word was sent out that he would be born, somebody was trying to kill him. But on the opposite side of that, someone was trying to save him. So we're going to go into the subject today for a little while about Jesus. And after all of the people that he saved, how did Jesus Christ end up alone? How did Jesus Christ end up by himself? And then we're going to make that Jesus very relevant to each individual. Because the scripture says that the kingdom of heaven is within you, within me, within us. Because Christ, according to scripture, says, be ye perfect. And the first thing we'll say, well, ain't nobody perfect. He ain't say you were perfect. When a person says be, that means that you execute those actions that are necessary to become. Whether that perfection is reached in your lifetime or in another lifetime, one thing is for sure. The negative that is in the world, the negative has manifested itself so much that the frequency vibrates so low that our children and adults are so grimy, so in tune with the negative sides of themselves that they think the negative is normal. So I want to go into something today if I can. First, I want to say this. I saw a video. Well, first I was riding coming from picking my son up from riding with someone, picking my son up from work. And there were some deers on the side of the road, but the deers appeared to be very, very confused. They didn't know whether to go left, right. They didn't know what to do. Then I saw a video on the internet where this hunting group, and I'm quite sure they got some good shooters in the group, but knowing deers like I know, deers are so swift and they move so fast. Only time you're going to get them is when they stop, really. It takes a real good shooter to hit them while they're moving. But according to that video, these deers, they died from headshots, which means they were not in motion. I spoke to another gentleman in a hunting club today and I said, did y'all hunt over the holidays? He said, yes. I said, you hit anything? He said, yes, 30. I said, 30 what? 30 deers. I said, and he had another gentleman standing there with him. I said, you didn't see anything odd about y'all being able to kill 30 deers? And while I'm talking, the guy is saying, yep, I did. I said, does it appear that the deers are confused? The guy was shaking his head, yep. There's a young man, Nico Soprano, I call him Nico, lost his dog. Now, this dog, he loved this dog. He shows the dog love, but the dog ran away. I'm coming to a point. There's a show out called Zoo, where all the animals begin to turn against humanity. They get confused. The frequency is so far off from what it should be that the animals don't know how to behave. Domesticated animals become angry and violent. And animals who are accustomed to the wild begin not to recognize where they are. We are in a time where the minds are changing. I got to go into this real quick, and then this is not going to take long at all, God willing. If you know anything about computer programming, no matter how big the computer, no matter whether it's a Samsung phone or Apple phone or Google phone, the programming of the phone is done with O's and ones, zeros and ones. Zeros and ones are all that program every computer on the back end. You don't see that. But if you're a programmer, if you build computers, it's all analytical talk with zeros and ones. This generation was gradually introduced into zeros and ones. This generation was gradually introduced into artificial intelligence. 2003, we are in the era of AI. If you saw the movie I, Robot with Will Smith, they depicted the rebellion and the stiff-necked nature of the robots as robots. But the movie was talking about people who accept their programming. Once the mind is able to be programmed, fragmented, confused, all of these things can come about because of the way that the earth weans in, weans out, the way the planets are close to the earth, the way the weather is, the way the clouds are, the way the sun is. You get more depressed in winter. You eat more, you get bigger in the winter. Most people make a New Year's resolution in January, which is the worst thing to do, because it's still the low months. You're not gonna succeed. You're gonna quit. When you want to make a resolution, you do it when the sun is at its peak most of the day, where you can get the energy from the sun. I'm coming to a point. The animals are confused. And if the animals are confused, then the people are confused. And in our confusion, we can be programmed to do whatever the programmer wants us to do, whatever the puppet master wants us to do. So we're in a point where we're not thinking for ourselves, but because we can't think for ourselves, we go along with the program. So now you see adults, old people smoking marijuana because they can't get their mind together. You see young people, the mind does not develop until you're 25, 26, 27 years old, but you're introducing chemicals into your body, not only chemicals, but artificial intelligent chemicals, genetically modified chemicals. Now you are a student, a slave to genetics, to genetically modified material. The food is genetically modified. You don't know what food tastes like. Everything is bland, so bland that they got to salt it to death in order to give it flavor. We cut off our, and this is not a jab, but we cut off our eyebrows to draw on chemicals. We pull off our lashes to put on artificial chemicals. We can't deal with our brains, so we put headphones on most of the day, or we're listening to loud music. And according to statistics that I was reading in Science Today, over 1 billion people in the near future will suffer from hearing loss because of the level of decibels in the music. We can't even listen to music quiet. I'm coming to a point about Jesus. All of this is relevant. Why you got to listen to the beginning and the end of the lectures. Again, thank you to Instagram and Linked. All of these are relevant to what I'm saying because most of us are getting in tune with business. And the way business is conducted is of this world. So when business is conducted of this world, you got to do business of this world in order to be successful. If being righteous was of this world, then the righteous would be more successful. But because we are afraid of being alone, I'm coming to a point, because we are afraid of being alone, we reject righteousness and we make excuses for wickedness so that we won't have to be alone. All right. This is the time of artificial intelligence. This is a time of reverse roles where we're in the feminine nature. Unfortunately, boys are being raised by women who think they're strong enough to be men and women. And they want to be that because they want to prove a point. It's not because they have to be. It's because they choose to be. And in doing so, you do not have the frequency or the vibratory frequency to raise a male child. So the child may look like a male. The child may act like a male, not gay, none of that. But the only frequency you have given them is the feminine feature. You've given them the feature to react like a female reacts. You as the female are reacting like a male. You so tough? I'm tough. But the males are tough, but they're reacting like females, whining and crying, shooting and killing, no conflict resolution whatsoever, not listening to proper advice, listening and then going behind your back and doing something else. Feminine qualities. And I ain't talking about the high frequency feminine qualities. I'm talking about the low frequency ones. Now let's get into this real quick. And then we're going to close. Talking about Jesus Christ today. A lot of young guys and girls, y'all like to wear the Last Supper. You got the what y'all call the Jesus piece. Either it's got the, that fake picture of Caesar Borgia on Michelangelo's drunk uncle on it. It's not the real Jesus. There is a Jesus, but that's not him. So you're already swinging a strike from having an engraved image. Then, like my son has the Last Supper, the apostles, 12 apostles, and he has the ring with the apostles on it as well. We're going to talk about that 12 today, what it represents, and what the world has made it to represent. And then we're going to close. This is something that I had to get out. Thank Almighty God for allowing it to be so. I tried to get on earlier today, but my anxiety got the best of me. I do suffer from PTSD because of my life as a child and neglect. Then these major surgeries that I had and the events that happened after that and before that. Anything that triggers that triggers all of that. So it makes me very anxious. So I tried to come on earlier and I had to go out, take a ride and come back because I was given Zoloft and something else, anti-anxiety medication and anti-depression medication. And I'm not going to take that stuff. I tried it. I'm not going to take it. I'm asking God to help me day by day to deal with the issues that I have. And I would advise many of you to be careful because a lot of that medication has methamphetamine. It's the same thing that makes up meth. And that's why you find a lot of meth addicts and a lot of fentanyl addicts. Once you've abused those drugs, then you got to go out and try to find something else to compensate for the drug. And you're trying to find something, you don't want to smoke marijuana, so you try to pop a pill so you don't smell, but that fentanyl is highly addictive. Now, let's talk about this. As Jesus pointed out the impediments in his disciples as they were having the Last Supper, he was telling this one, you're going to deny me, this one, you're going to do this one, you're going to do that. They're great qualities, difficult qualities, blah, blah. None of them accepted what Jesus was saying. At the same time as Christ was talking to the disciples, he began to realize, and if you read scripture, you will see it. He began to realize that the impediments that were in the 11 disciples were impediments that were in him as well. Say that again. You have adults who don't take accountability for things they do. It's always somebody else's fault. They're always the perfect person, always the king, always the queen, always real, always solid to themselves. Never going back to ask, how did I offend you? What did I do? Can we talk? No, it's their fault because they just. Christ began to question himself. So much so that when somebody called him good, he got angry. Why callest thou me good? No one is good but the Father, the one who is making me a better person. No one is good but him. When you begin to acknowledge yourself, acknowledge your weaknesses, acknowledge your impediments. Yes, you're strong in fighting, but you weak in 10 other things, 11 other things. Yes, you're strong in business, but you're weak in 11 other things. Yes, you are strong in talking and motivating people, but you're weak in many other things. And if we don't acknowledge those weaknesses, if we don't say to ourselves, I must try to do better and take accountability for myself, if we don't do these things, then we can convince ourselves that I'm the good person, they're the bad person. But if there is a heaven anywhere out there, you won't be a part of it. There is not a minute mustard seed of rebellion that would be allowed in a place better than this. How do you know that, Jamil? Because the book of Revelation, the book of Revelation says that God had to destroy all of it, everything, and start over with a new heaven and a new earth. Didn't say what it was, but we were not worthy of it. So whatever heaven, whatever good we get, and this is it. Unless we decide to fight for the future. That I decided in 1989. That's when I got my calling. I accepted it. I didn't become a great person in the beginning. I was selling marijuana then, and I was good at it. I was 10 times better than most of these. I know I was 10 times better than most of you young guys because y'all start over every week. I wasn't starting over. I was building an empire on marijuana with the seeds in it. Reggie. No genetics. And I was good at it. But in the midst of all of that and my trials and tribulations, I had to make a decision. Wealth or what's behind door number one, the unseen. And I chose the unseen because the unseen is what opened my eyes to what I didn't see in my own life. In the process of that, I lost my wife, my children, my ex-wife, my children, my home, my car, everything. Lost it all. And had to be reborn again. And in that process, I had time to look within myself and see my impediments. We're talking. Jesus realized it. So Jesus realized that he had these impediments. And Jesus's death was symbolic of the death of his own ego. But none of his disciples at the time were stronger than him, strong enough to deal with the fact that I got to deal with myself. So when you're wearing this 12, this Last Supper, this Last Supper is you saying, this is the death of myself, or who I think I am, and I got to walk into the reality of who I really am. Most people can't accept that. You got old people now trying to sit down with young people and smoke marijuana because they're trying to get out of the reality of themselves. Some people work themselves to death because they really believe they're going to make so much money that they'll never have to worry again. And that's funny. That's funny and sad. No happiness. Everything is mechanical. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's go on a trip. Hurry up. Let's go here. Let's go see that. Let's do that. Come on, let's go. Take some pictures. Let everybody see them. We look happy. Hey, hey. And then we go home. We're miserable. This is the artificial generation. Artificial intelligence is real. In the food, in the mind, in religion, in the drugs, all artificial. They're genetically modifying animals because the world is running out of food. And because these people that I talked about with the deers, because they could kill them, and most of these were baby deers, but because they could, they overindulged and killed. And now they got to find somebody to give the meat to. Somebody got to be able to pack up and say, that's enough. Somebody got to be able to morally say, that's enough. But when you can't say that's enough, you take the right things and you make the right things conducive to your wrong thinking. Most of the murderers wear Jesus pieces. 12. Most of the murderers got a cross around it. Most of those men and boys who shoot up homes and kill innocent people, murder people, sell drugs that kill people, they got their cross on. They woke. But they're woke in another dimension that is not the dimension that God has intended for them to be in. So technically they still sleep. They just feel good. You smoke weed, yeah, it's gonna open your mind, but you've seen turtles and deers and all kind of, you ain't seen the reality of the time and what must be done because you never change. We never change. Intelligent people know better. Jay-Z made a song called I Never Change, but he did change. He said all he needed was his friends, but the friends he claimed he needed, he got new ones now. Everything changes. Seasons change. The Bible says there's a time and place for everything under the sun. A time to laugh, a time to cry, a time to kill, a time to heal, all of that. What book are y'all reading from? What are y'all seeing? When you sitting at the table for your Last Supper and you realize that you got to walk in the valley and shadow of death alone, I'm going to read some of that real quick for you. And I'm going to read to you the significance of the 12. Then we're going to be done. Thank you for tuning in on Instagram. Thank y'all for tuning in on Facebook and all of the social media websites. Shout out to Douglas McCrae. Shout out to Dale Castro Powell. We taking a little bit of offense to people snatching our programs and making them their own and not saying thank you, but we're going to keep bouncing. We still together. Let me tell you something about my situation as a boy trying to become a man. Anyone that I have a disagreement with, if our unity does more than the disagreement, then we staying united. Because we're fighting for the future of our children. And now, if they follow this generation, they have no future. And it's gotten so bad that the elders are giving up and following these crazy behind artificially intelligent programmed young people into the abyss. They partying with them. They telling them, go ahead, I'll watch you. A 20-year-old man last night, 21 years old, 12-year-old boy killed himself. They were playing Russian roulette. 20-year-old man is going to be held with the crime. At 20 years old, he couldn't tell 12, 14, and another young boy not to do that, to put the gun down. He's the OG. Yeah, you Negroes got to be strong. These streets. Yeah, prove you ain't afraid of death. All wrong. All wrong. In our communities, these old behind folks are hiding the young people's dirt. What kind of future is that? Let me tell you what's going to happen. Your children, and I posted it up a few weeks ago, they're going to start sleeping with each other. I know what I know. You're going to have to hide all their evil, all of it, because they can't control their sexual desires. And any drug that makes you high or changes your molecular structure and your mental state will affect your ability and your inhibition. You don't know how to stop yourself. It's a woman, rather it's a baby or my sister. If we all high, we gonna have sex. They're doing that now. Boys are having sex with their mama. Brothers and sisters, they're gonna keep it private, but the closet door is gonna bust wide open very soon. 20, 21, 25-year-old boys sleeping with little 13-year-old girls and getting them pregnant. It's all the evil in the frequency that we carry. We don't want to clean up nothing. Jesus, the Last Supper. Let's go into that a little bit today. I want to start with this. There were 12 disciples. Of course, you know there are 12 inches in a ruler. In order to be able to rule yourself and your desires, in order to be able to use the title king and queen, that means from your feet, and this is esoteric knowledge, and this is spiritual knowledge now. You can look it up, you can bear witness to it, or if you find something different, I encourage you and invite you to come back to me and let's discuss it. I'm not going to debate with you. I'm not going to argue about, see, the Hebrews, I ain't getting into all of that because that's not fixing anything. We at war right now. And we need everybody who can be on the same accord, rather you're black, white, red, brown, yellow, rather you're Christian, Muslim, agnostic, atheist. We need everybody on the same page. Because entertainment right now is what's keeping people going. And I understand when you get your favorite religion, you want to push that. And then you reject your family who goes by another religion, but that's saving their life. And you reject that. God is not going to approve of that, people. Okay, Christianity is your thing. Islam might be someone else's. That's mine. Islam, Christian, all of them are mine. Buddhism, because I see the correlation. 12. When you're saying that you're going to sit down to your Last Supper, when a prisoner is about to die in the electric chair, the firing squad, the lethal injection. I'm sorry about that, people calling. Lethal injection. They asked him, what do you want for your last meal? So when you are headed towards death, I don't know why they would keep the phone ringing so much. When you're headed toward death, the Last Supper is what you sit down at the table to engage in. To my young people, God is going to call you. And when he calls you, he's going to give you a grace period. You're going to see what's wrong. But seeing what's wrong and having to deal with yourself is 10 times worse than dealing with what y'all consider opposition. Being tough, fighting tough, shooting tough is nothing compared to dealing with yourself. That is the biggest fight you will ever have. And most of us can't even admit that we got a problem. So you're losing already. But anyway, Jesus is the 12th, sitting at the table with 11. disciples, and I want to go into this real quick, and then I think we're gonna close. I want to go into the qualities of the disciples, the leading apostles and their characteristics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There were 12, Jesus being the head, Jesus being above the ruler, 12 inches on the ruler, Christ's wisdom above the ruler. When there are 12 systems in the body, but above that is something greater that we can't see. Andrew was open-minded. That's inside of us. We have the ability to be open-minded. We can understand homosexuality, the LGBTQ community. We can understand the gangs. We can understand politics and all of that. Not that we agree with it, but we're open-minded. We can see it. It's a form of empathy. You must have it. Bartholomew was composed. The one who you fussing at, yelling, talking trash, and he's like, all right. We all have composure in us. Get yourself together. Compose yourself. That's in us. James was a fanatical. Now, you know, most of us lean towards fanaticism. When you start dying for colors and streets and blocks that you don't own, you're a fanatic. You're a fanatic. But that's a part of us. Jesus is showing you at this table is all of the elements of things that we got to fight in ourselves as individuals. Open-mindedness, being composed, being fanatical. James, the son of Alphaeus, was quietness. This generation cannot deal with quiet, but quiet is necessary. This generation is so noisy. The weed is called loud. They just got to be loud all the time. That's a part of all of us. I'm telling you that we are no different. But it's all about mastering yourself and mastering the ego. John was passionate. We must have compassion. Judas was a traitor. When your body tells you to drink to excess and destroy your liver and your kidney, to smoke weed until you can't think straight, that you would kill a man and then scare people so they won't tell that you did it, you're a traitor to yourself. You are a snitch. You are a rat to yourself. And eventually you end up telling on yourself. All of this inside. Look at that 12 people at that table that you're representing on your neck and your finger and your whatever else, your shirt. It has meaning to it. And nobody's going to teach it to you but the people who God gave it to. God gives some people some things. He gave me this. It's very difficult. I want it. I'm scared to death, but I want it. Judas, that's Andrew, Bartholomew, James, 2 James, John, and Judas. Then there's Jude. Jude is intense. When we are passionate about something, we're very intense. That's in us. Matthew is humble. Many of us have lost humility. Peter is impulsive. Remember I talked about that feminine nature? Peter is the feminine nature. I'm not sure, but I think it was Peter who cut the ear off one of the guards who was trying to attack Jesus. Don't quote me on that, but it was one of them. Philip is inquisitive, ask a lot of questions. Simon the Zealot was strong-willed. All of my children are strong-willed. And Thomas was a pessimist, doubted it ain't gonna work. We ain't gonna be able to make. When I was talking about the Polaris earlier and riding in the when my brother-in-law said, oh, I said to my brother-in-law, hey, you think you could ride me in the parade so I could represent my business? And he said, no, but you can drive the Polaris. If you want to ride it, drive it. I said, okay. He said, can you drive a stick? I said, yeah. My sister, God rest her soul, taught me how to drive stick in a day. He said, okay, well, I got to ride with you, make sure you can ride. I rode it. That day we rode the thing, it was fine. Left it there for a while, came back to get it the day of the parade. and it would not crank. My point is, you don't know what. I had several people there with me trying to crank it, and they pretty much say, oh, well, leave it alone. And I'm saying, wow, such pessimism, such doubt. I think I can fix it without doing anything major. Got it cranked by God's permission, and it worked. But pessimism, man, that doubt. So these are the 12. These are the 12. And these are the 12 things that we have inside of us that battle us on a daily. We're fighting against ourselves. Every prayer that we pray is for ourselves. When you pray, you're praying internally to, you're trying to find that God that has been buried all the way at the bottom of your spine. And in our world, we understand that God is wrapped around the bottom of your spine 3.5 times. And to awaken that, it takes something to do that. That's why, and there are 33 vertebrae in the spine. The Masons believe in 33 degrees. That's because you have to awaken each level of your consciousness in order to understand God's self and the world we live in. Some people, when they awaken, they misuse that power. Some people, when they awaken, they share that power. Those who share the power becomes enemies to those who want to abuse the power. So the righteous understand that there are 85% of the people in the world who don't know nothing. They just living, trying to make some money, trying to survive. They're the ignorant. They're the lost found. That's 85%. 10% of the people know the truth, but they are bloodsuckers of the poor. They take that truth and manipulate people with it. They don't want to share wealth or nothing. If they give you something, it's just to calm you down. It's not to be fair. That 10% that knows and that 85% represents 95%. And then there's a 5% who knows the truth and who are willing to share that truth. But that 5% always face death every day. We are always at the Last Supper. Always. There is no comfort in a 5%er because we understand that we are amongst savages who have no desire to control the 12 elements of themselves. Now, let's go to this real quick. We talked about the 12 disciples, Jesus being the 13th. And you know there were really 13 tribes in the Bible. One was destroyed. So they only talk about the 12. And there are 12 systems in the body. 12 systems in the body. 12 system that represents the 12. The 12 systems of the body are the cardiovascular system, the digestive system. Number 3, the endocrine system. Look them up for yourself and look up the organs they control. Number 4, eyes and ears, sensory system. Number 5 is the immune and the hematology system. That is bone marrow forms, new blood and immune system, immune cells that fight pathogens and get rid of cancer cells, red blood cells to carry oxygen around the body. Now, I told y'all my sister died from cancer, my mother, my grandmother. But young people are developing cancer at an alarming rate because of the chemicals that we are introducing into our bodies that are destroying the 5th element, the 5th frequency, which is the immune system. The 6th system is the lymphatic system, the lymph nodes. A lot of people are suffering from what do they call it? Oh my goodness, thyroid problems. The 8th system is the nervous system. The 9th system is the reproductive system. The 10th, respiratory system. 11th, the skin system. And the 12th, the urinary system. The same 12 systems are the same 12 apostles or disciples that Jesus had among him. And as Jesus came closer and closer to realizing that he must die, that not only must he die, he must give up his life. Must sacrifice his life. We're going to close with this. The esoteric significance of Jesus' inner circle. The further Jesus got up the ladder, the more people he let go. I'm coming to a point. The more you begin to try to change and do better, you're going to lose people around you, people that you really liked, people that you thought were your friends, people that you thought were with you. The title of this and the image that I posted up was Jesus Saved the Multitudes. Why did he have to die alone? The reason you die alone is because you accept death and you accept the challenge that comes along with death. You accept the death of your old self. You accept the death of your ego and your selfish thoughts. And you become a person of value, not only to yourself, but to others. And God will walk with you. Then the Bible says that you just say, Jesus said, get thee behind me, Satan. That is what it means. I no longer want to be a part of this. But when you got old people who are addicts, they can never do the right thing because they got to protect the person who feeds their addiction. So if there's somebody making noise, selling drugs, doing wrong things in your community, those who are addicted they're going to protect them. Not because it's right, but because they are addicts. And in their mind, they've justified it. But as a fighter of truth and a fighter of wanting to do it, and I'm telling you, there is no better high, there is no better peace than understanding that you're fighting for your life and fighting for your future. 4 white students were murdered. They've already put up $1 million to find out who did it. In Manning, we got unsolved murders all over the place. And nobody's going to put up a dime because they know who did it. Because 9 times out of 10, that person is supplying them with drugs or sex or something that they can never be authors of truth. They got to lie the rest of their life. Now, most Christians are aware that Jesus in a circle, they are the 3 that were closest to him. The 3 closest to Jesus before his death were Peter, James, and John. Now let's look at the qualities of Peter. Peter was impulsive. James was fanatical. And John was passionate. Impulsive, fanatical, and passionate. These are the 3 qualities when you are climbing the ladder of trying to do better with yourself internally. You're going to face compulsion, compassion, and fanaticism. Feels like you're going crazy in your head. I'm talking to you young people. Because you're tired of this world and you want to get out, but it's messing your head up so much. It's messing up the minds of the animals. They're so messed up that if they could stand up on their back legs and smoke weed, they would smoke it. You're almost there. I got to read something to you that my son said to me at 14 years old. He said, and I said, text that to me. Let me read it real quick. He said, the most lost generation shall also be the most found. He said that. I don't think he read it in the Bible or the Quran, but that's what God says. That's what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says. That's what Class 13X said, the 5% nation. That's why he took Islam to the street. 19 Keys, Billy Carson, the late Dick Gregory. The first book I read when I got to New York from a Black author was Nigger from Dick Gregory, or Don't Call Me Nigger. You facing the battle of your life. Everything is going to turn against you. And the only way you get out of this is to go back into the world that you're trying to get out of, and you're going to die there. You got to die to leave, to be resurrected, and you got to die to stay. But there is no resurrection on that one. You just dead. All of these young people that have died in Manning and Summerton and something, Columbia, they just dead. Don't nobody hardly go clean their grave sites off or sit and talk with them. Don't nobody think about their death and how we can do something to better the next generation. They up on the internet advertising the same thing that got the children killed. The drugs, the music, the liquor. God will not be merciful on us for that. Jesus only had 3. He was winding down, went from 12 to 3. Had nothing to do with him favoring them. It has to do with the soul qualities that they represented and the role these soul qualities played in developing consciousness and birthing the Christ within. I'm going to say it again. Fanaticism, compassion, and I can't remember the other one. My mind, God, give me strength. Fanaticism, compassion, and I think I've deleted it already. James, fanaticism, John, passion, and Peter, yes, and Peter, impulsive. Why do you have to become impulsive? Because this world has been made to think that because they on demon time, they different. You gotta be, when they draw, you gotta draw, God willing. When they shoot, you gotta shoot. If they're gonna kill somebody in your family, don't kill somebody in their family. Be impulsive. If they're gonna leave you alone, leave them alone. But if they think it's something in this world that makes them stronger than what God is making you, prove to them that they are lying. It's gotta be that way. I pray for it every day. I get scared when I think I just talked to a friend of mine the other day about it. I said, man, people are trying me. They don't think that I will kill them. I say they trying me, bruh. They think I'm a sucker. And that's what's happening with these mass shooting among Black people. You think these people are just merciless kill, but people are picking at them. People are threatening these young people that are coming to school with guns. They're trying to protect their life. They're impulsive. What are you going to do when somebody's trying to take your life from you, your livelihood from you? You can't talk to them. You can't pray to them. All they understand is what they're trying to give you. You got to be able to match the energy, but you got to be compassionate with it. Yeah. We talking. I'm almost done. I'm sorry I've been on so long, but I want to read this. Then I think I'm going to stop. I had so much more, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to read this again. It says, it has nothing to do with Jesus favoring them. It has to do with the soul qualities that they represent and the role their soul qualities play in developing consciousness and birthing the Christ within. All of the disciples represented specific qualities, but these 3, through their unique role as the inner circle of Christ, represented the main qualities which unveiled the process of spiritual evolution from the natural man to the enlightened man. See, we on a natural level wearing our Last Supper. You got to become enlightened. That's where we are. You all think that you got to be a demon to kill somebody. God is the biggest murderer I know. He'll bring a tornado through and kill everything, wipe out everything. Volcano kill everything. The rain kills everything. The cold weather kills everything. The heat kills everything. I'm going to hang out with the gods. I'm going to hang out with the gods if they will allow me. I don't want to be with the demons. I want nothing to do with you, but I want to study you. Make sure I understand you. Because when I'm in trouble, I got to call on a power bigger than myself. What about y'all? When I was on my deathbed, they made me sign a waiver saying that if I die, I won't sue the hospital. The surgery was that intense. And as I'm signing the paper, the doctors are looking at me. You got any questions? And I looked them dead in their eyes. No. You sure you don't have no questions? No, sir. Because if I die, I'm dead. Only God can determine that. You do what you know how to do, and I'll rely on God with the rest. You and God. First time they made a mistake, and he said, "Oh my God." When I came out and I almost died the second time, he said, "Oh my God, remind me to never give you that again." And the third time, it's like, "Oh my God." Yes, our God. I'm closing. Jesus had 3 disciples when he went to pray, but by the time the Pontius Pilate and the crew agreed to kill him, he was by himself. I think Peter was walking in the bushes, kind of looking, and I know Mary Magdalene and his mother Mary were close by. But at the end of this thing, brothers, sisters, you got to be alone for a little while. And then after you die and you resurrect into the new you, you're going to see so many people that have done what you've done. It's no different than being jumped into a gang. If I've killed somebody and you saw me kill them, now I got to see you kill somebody so I know you won't tell on me because I can tell on you. And the only thing that can prevent that from happening is if we die. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. That's not all I wanted to say, but I think I'll stop and maybe we'll do a part two. I don't know. But I thank you for tuning in. This is Jamil Salih Jamil because I wanted to talk more about the 12. I will tell you a few things in the Bible that you should look out for, though. The significance of 12 is all things of faith or of the church. That all numbers in the word signify actual things. All numbers, chapters, verses, numbers, everything signifies actual things. Yeah, let me do this and then we'll close. In Matthew, Jesus said, "Verily I say unto you that ye who have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit upon the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones." Say that again. Matthew 19 and 21. Jesus said, "Verily I say unto you that you who have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit upon the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." Here, apostles are not mentioned, but apostles, not thrones by thrones, etc. You can read that for yourself. Look it up. Look it up. I had a lot of yeah, I think I'm going to stop there. I heard the number of those who were sealed out of every tribe of the son of Israel. This is Revelation 7, 4, and 5. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad was sealed 12,000. And so on. 12 everywhere you go. A woman encompassed with the sun, and the moon under her feet. Upon her had a crown of 12 stars. Revelations 12 and 1. The woman denotes the church. The sun, celestial love, and the moon, spiritual love. That's your role, woman. You are spiritual love. But you are so tough now that you don't even know how to give spiritual love. Justified, yes. But we got to get back to that. Why did Jesus end up alone? Because whenever we are in a transition that is not of this world, we're going to have to do it alone. And where I talked about Islam, see, it's normal now to do that. It's normal to talk about Jesus now. But in Manning, we were called crazy. Ask anybody who knows me. They're crazy. They're in a crazy religion. They're going to hell. So every time it looks like I'm rising, people get upset. That's why I mentioned the Polaris. That's why I mentioned the slingshot. Because every time it looks like I'm shining a little bit, that I was supposed to die. My sister, God rest her soul, was a devout Christian. I'm a Muslim. She was fighting cancer. I was fighting heart trouble. Both of us were on our deathbeds. And I think most people thought that it was going to be me because I'm the crazy Muslim. But the whole time I'm in the hospital, I'm praying for my baby sister. Because I shared something with someone that I saw that I knew was going to happen. And I knew that after I didn't die the third time, they weren't waiting on me. They were waiting on my sister. So a week or 3 days or something out of the hospital, I had somebody driving me over to my sister, could barely walk, but I had to get to her. So back then, it was rough to say you were with Christ. Everybody denied him. During the 80s, it was crazy to say you were a Muslim. Everybody thought we were, they hate white people, they fanatics, they hate Jesus, all lies. And because we still stand, some of us, we tried to stand on our square, people are angry. So they go around talking to everybody who wants to do me harm and people like me, trying to build up enough rebellion that I will become the bad guy. I can feel it. I feel it on Sugar Hill. I feel it. For y'all satisfaction, I don't have nothing but what people loan me. I was given that Polaris, that slingshot, because I'm trusted enough. People share things with me. I'm a poor Black man who loves truth. And I believe that what is being taught will help our children reverse the downward spiral that they are in. For those who don't know, drill music, drill means to kill. I drill a hole in them, I shoot them, I drill them. So you listen to it and you love it, but you are perpetuating the frequency of death. And all through Sugar Hill, people want to play drill, 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 all times of night, all up and down the dirt road. And I feel that. I feel that frequency. And I don't like it. So I pray against it. I don't care what happened to you. I'll be honest with you. Time is out for the BS. I don't care if you run off the road and hit a tree. I don't care because you can't talk to people anymore. You can't be a man and talk to nobody no more. You can't talk to a child. You can't explain nothing to a child. Even when they see it, it's not enough. That's why you can die and die and die. Jesus only had to die one time. Let's get to it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Jamil Salib Zamir, Manning, South Carolina. I think I'm going to hit this like it is, and then we're going. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, all of the websites. We are gone. We're not stopping yet.
Tell me like it is, and not like it was. Tell me like it is, and not like it was. Tell me like it is.
In that. I'm sorry. Did we end? Yeah.